we had a nice open week last week. Got a good time just for the players to get fresh, get in the weight room, just kind of get their body back together. Opportunity for our coaches to really evaluate what we're doing, well, what we need work on, where do we make improvements that I won't really get into. You guys probably know for me all weaknesses, but just things that we need to improve on in the open week. You got a little extra time to prepare for a really good Duke football team that's going to come in here at Saturday 3:30, and they had a tough loss this past weekend at home against Virginia, who's another good football team in the Coastal Division, which every year is a battle. But that'll open up for questions.
Forgive me if you were. I know you probably don't want to talk about this so much. I'm curious about the genesis of the punt play against Notre Dame. Was that something that you had seen other teams do in the past before? The whole change in numbers thing. I'm just sort of curious where the genesis of that play came from.
The changing of numbers. Just getting a similar number so they don't. If we ran Kenny Pickett out there, I think they would know maybe it's a fake. So it was a similar number that most people don't check that. We thought we had a good play. We didn't execute like we need to. And, obviously we did a poor job as coaches making sure we got it done the right way. So it goes on us.
Where did the thought come from? Because I personally hadn't seen that. I don't know if you would come across it before in your career and thought, hey, maybe had fouled it away as something to maybe try.
Well, it's very similar to what we did against Syracuse to win the game up in Syracuse a couple years ago. I don't know what year that was, 2015. So very similar play that was executed properly. And, sometimes when you see it, you saw it Saturday where there was some, you take chances, and it would have been nice to get a first down there and keep it, keep the sticks moving. The part that really disappoints you is, it was a run pass option. He should have just punted the ball down the field, and whatever. Again, that's on our fault. That's our fault as coaches. We didn't coach that good enough. If he's not doing it, it's because we didn't make him do it. So, but it should have been a punt anyway, based on nothing was open. Punt it. That was a long time. Seems like a long time ago.
You guys have faced a lot of good quarterbacks this year. What is it about Daniel Jones that has maybe garnered him as much kind of that next level buzz as any of those guys, or maybe more?
Well, I think what makes him maybe a top 10 pick and all those things is he's 6'5". He's got Dave Cutcliffe as his quarterback coach. He's got a gun arm, and he can also move in the pocket. So he's elusive. He's not as elusive as some guys that we face this year, but he's got the ability to make you miss in the pocket. But he's a big pro-style quarterback, and there's not a lot of them out there nowadays. There's a lot of 6'2" guys that can run and throw, and but the NFL likes those guys that are 6'5". So I think he's a pro-type quarterback, and with the quarterbacks that Coach Cutcliffe has mentored through the years, I think people trust his word and the coaching he's getting there, and he's a dang good quarterback.
With the tight end position, did you consider Carson Van Lin basically like playing as an eligible tackle, or are you planning on moving him to tight end and using him as a more traditional tight end?
We'll find out. Only time will tell. We'll just see how he does. He's a big athletic guy that is really a backup left tackle, and he's playing. We're just trying to get our best 11 players on the field, and Carson becomes one of those best 11 at times based on personnel groupings, based on what we want to try to do based on down and distance and field position.
Has he run routes for you guys?
Oh yeah. Oh, he can catch. He's a good athlete.
The reverse Brian O'Neill, sort of, right now?
He's a reverse Brian O'Neill. And again, and again, I'll tell you what, Grant Kerrigan had a nice game as well. Grant did some nice things, so he's the same kind. They both stood here and walked, you didn't, and they had a bag over their heads. You wouldn't know who's who. They're both the same size. They both run well. They're both athletic, and they both could play tight end. They both could play offensive tackle.
Since we're brought up with the big Pat, who would be your
blame Will? Huh?
Yeah, always blame Will. Who would be, if you came to it and needed to do something at quarterback, who would be your backup quarterback right now?
Right now it would be Jeff George, I believe. Yeah. Right now Jeff would be the guy. We know we got confidence in Ricky as well. Jeff's come in and really picked stuff up well.
So when you look at the Coastal Division standings and see how bunched up it is, is that something you can point to your team like, hey, look, we're right there, we're 2-1. There's a lot of teams right in that same mix.
Yeah, I think it is. That's kind of, what you want to do is take one game at a time in the ACC, and we got 5 to go. There's a lot to look forward to. We just, we can't look too far ahead. The standings mean nothing. It's just the only thing that matters is what we do this weekend against Duke. because after a week, if you don't get your job done, really, standings don't mean as much. So, all the focus is on Duke and what we can do to beat them, on Saturday. But, it is a positive if you look at it and say, okay, doesn't matter what happened to Notre Dame or what happened to UCF, you still have your goals in front of you, and I don't think anybody's blind to that.
How about the open week? Was there any specific area of shortcoming you'd seen that, really became a point of emphasis? Or?
Obviously you're going to find stuff offensively, defensively, even special teams wise, fake punt, execution, and coaching. But there's going to be something on offense and defense. I'm not going to get into the details of that. But there's always stuff that you have time to look at and evaluate, self-evaluate, what we're doing as a football team, what we're doing as a coaching staff, how can we make things better.
I won't ask you to play by play or anything, but generally when you look at why the passing game hasn't really gotten on track, I mean, is there any concern that you guys maybe been too conservative in terms of calling that stuff? Or?
Sometimes. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, like I said, it's player and it's coaches involved, and we've talked about that as well, about putting up last week or 2 weeks ago, Maurice French got a chance to go down the field and and it tracks a PI. I mean, we don't even get those because we don't take those. Very conservative, and but it's also what you do and what Kenny feels comfortable doing too. So it's a little bit of everything. I mean, period. It's 11 guys out there. It's protection. It's feeling comfortable. It's who's in the game at receiver. Are they making plays? Are they getting open? Are they on time? So it's a lot.
How do you? I mean, Kenny's talked about that he welcomes the pressure. He welcomes because he holds himself to such a high standard. When the passing game isn't as efficient as you want it to be, how do you sort of walk that line between having him not feel like the whole world's coming down on his shoulders when at the same time he's the guy that says, I welcome that pressure.
I mean, what's he going to tell you? He doesn't welcome pressure. We all welcome pressure, and you want to get your job done. But the first thing is we're going to stand on the run. That's what we do well right now, and we're going to run the football and set the pass up with the run. And that's Pittsburgh football to begin with. That's tough football, and but we certainly have got to throw the ball better than we are. Period.
Seems like Aaron Matthews played not just more minutes, played pretty well the last two games.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like has been the difference maker that he led him to separate himself from a bunch of those other guys?
Well, it's first of all opportunity. And there was probably a point 5 or 6 weeks ago where he was all, disappointed, and I just said, Aaron, just keep fighting. Keep fighting. Tayseer Mack was in at that time, and I'm not sure when he'll be back. And but really opportunity to go out there, and then he's practiced better. And I look at guys that want to play. You better practice better, and he's practiced better, and it's translated onto the football field. So I'm happy for Aaron that he's had some opportunities. He's made some catches too, but he can still get better.
Well, where does Trey Dixon stand in the Notre Dame? He was in the game at least for that last pass in Notre Dame.
Trey, that's again. If you practice better, you play better, you get opportunities, and Trey's a guy that's going to get opportunities. I mean, he's done some good things, and he's got to make more plays for us. He's a guy that's got the ability to make plays, and we need to get him out there. Period.
Is he not an issue any longer?
Jerry, I don't know. Is it? I don't know. Come on.
You've faced a lot of mobile quarterbacks this year. Jones is kind of more of a 6'5" stand in the pocket. What kind of challenges does he bring to your defense?
I mean, he can also scramble and throw it as well. He'll scramble for a first, even, shoot, he's only out 2 weeks with a broken collarbone, so he's a tough guy. It's a drop-back guy that can rifle the ball in, so we have to be good at disguising coverages and getting reroutes on people. And, again, he's going to throw RPOs as well, so he does a little bit of everything as far as, getting guys the ball, so he can deliver it in a bunch of different ways.
Would you guys want to try to get that tight end position more involved? I mean, I know that Grant and Carson are probably different, obviously much different type of player than Will Gragg, but I mean, have you guys in the off week sort of looked at that position and said, how can we, maybe do a little more there?
I don't know. Maybe we did. Maybe we did.
Yeah, I had a chance to.
I wish I could tell you, but not.
I had a chance to talk to Dennis Briggs last week at sort of at length. I'm sort of curious, is coaching a married player a little bit differently than having, do coaches like having guys that have that? I mean, obviously there's a maturity thing that goes on there.
Yeah.
It would seem like, I'm curious in general in your experiences.
Does anybody get married anymore? I mean, Dennis is a special kid. He's a loyal guy. Nothing is different about coaching a married player. Matter of fact, it's pretty nice. You don't have to worry about him going out at night. You don't have to worry about what he's doing on a Thursday night or Friday night. But he's a different kid. He's special. He's become a better leader through really the last 2 years as captain, and I think having a steady wife, I guess, steady girlfriend, can benefit some guys, and maybe it can hurt some guys. So I think it's to each his own.
He mentioned that he knew he didn't have the year last year that he wanted to have, at least on the field, but the fact that the guys voted him the captain anyway. I'm curious, what is it about this personality that sort of lends itself to that?
Just the way he presents himself. I think guys respect him for who he is and how he acts off the field. And I tell you what, Dennis Briggs, when you look at the player Dennis Briggs was a year ago and the player he is now, it's night and day, really. He is a much, much better football player, even though he was a leader a year ago. But he's a much better football player right now than he was a year ago. He's making a lot of plays. He's playing with a lot of confidence. I'm happy for what he's doing.
In what ways is he better?
He's a better tackler. He's a better cover guy. He's where he needs to be faster. I mean, just everything, really. I mean, he's playing at a high level right now, I think. Better than he ever has.
How do you feel like the linebackers dealt with the loss of Quentin out there?
I think Elias did okay. I mean, I think, you lose one guy in the middle, and, he's, the heart of a defense, really. He gets everything controlled. But Elias did some nice things in there as far as getting everybody lined up. He's pretty cool. He wasn't in a panic, being the first start of his career. And, and again, Sean is another guy that's got emotion, and you got, Zeiss as well. I mean, so you got two older guys out there with him that can help make sure things are right. But I think Reynolds did a good job.
I think Kessman has responded to the way 2 weeks ago went. I mean, that's kind of a big dip to go from being sort of the hero 1 week to missing 2 the next week.
That's how the game of football is. That's a game of life. I mean, it's a game of life for everybody in this room, really. One week you're the hero, and and you can't do anything wrong. And the next week, things just don't go your way. That's every week someone wins and somebody loses. My mom always reminds me of that. Like, hey, half the teams win and half lose every week. It's like, wow, you're right. But someone's going to miss a field goal. Someone's going to make one, and I think he'll respond, but we'll find out Saturday. That's when you're going to really find out. If he puts the first one up through, just one of those days. Maybe, again, he didn't handle success very well. I don't know. Maybe patting him on the back from the week before hurt him. Those are only things that he knows inside, what happened. But I think he's a tough kid, and I trust he will, he'll respond the right way, the way we want him to respond.
Generally speaking, Dad, and not so much specifics, but beyond the final score during your self-scout sessions this past week, what did you find out about your team that you liked? What did you find out about your team you didn't like?
I didn't find anything I don't like. I like this football team. I like how they work. We went out and had we had 2 great practices last week and went a lot of good on good. Did some 2-minute against each other, did some team periods together, did inside against each other, just becoming a better football team fundamentally. We just figured it was a good time. It was physical too. So again, the thing I like is they're resilient and they're going to come play, period. They love the game of football. I think they love what they're doing every day, coming to the office and playing ball. I mean, that's the thing you love about them is they're going to come out every day and give you everything they've got, and they do. And I don't dislike anything.
Have you ever disliked anything about a team at this point in the season?
Sometimes. Not here, though.
I think it was last Tuesday was the first day that new transfer database or whatever kicked in with the new NCAA rules. Just kind of curious, as coaches, have you guys looked at that thing, one way or another, now that that's, I guess, a new part of the process of college football?
Not really. I mean, this is not the time to be, looking for transfers. I think it's, it is what it is. It's something that after the season, if you have a need, you're going to look at it. But it's almost too much from what I hear from the recruiting office. It's just like, it's already probably 3 pages by now. I think people are using it in the wrong way, and but that's what they got to do.
What do you mean the wrong way?
Well, just there's some guys that have redshirted the year before. When you look at things are happening, they've already redshirted, and then they play 4 games. And they think they can just do it again. It's like you're not going to get the year back. It's just kind of, if you've already redshirted, just continue to play the rest of the season. What are you doing? That's the way I look at it. Play the season, because you never know what happens game 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, 10, 12, bowl game.
Now you have the
the team that's right behind you in the standings this week, and then you still have 3 teams that are in front of you right now in the division ahead. Do you emphasize that at all, the fact that you guys do kind of control your own destiny in this thing in a way?
Well, I don't think I have to emphasize it. I think, you know, they all have cell phones and they look at the standings, I'm sure, besides other things on Twitter and the internet. But, I mean, they understand where they are. I don't have to emphasize it. I think they understand it's one at a time, and we can't look, oh, the 3 next guys are here. It doesn't matter. I mean, the only one that matters is Duke, and then the games get bigger if you win them. If you don't win them, they get smaller. So we got to make them bigger.
Wait, this division is so jumbled. We're on the other side. I mean, it's been, obviously Clemson's been really good for a while, but this division, it seems like every year it's amazing.
Well, I think when you look at the other division, I mean, you got Clemson there, and they've been the big daddy, you know, of the Atlantic Division. And the Coastal's got a lot of great football teams, but again, anybody can win any week. And I think that's the difference there. I think there's not one team in the Coastal is going to defend another one and say, oh, that's an easy win, you know. But there's a dominant team over on the other side of the division. And then in our division, it's a lot of great football teams that, you know, you're either going to win by 3 or lose by 3. It's going to come down to the wire. And I think every one of these games the rest of the way is going to come down to the wire. It's going to be a 4-quarter focused football game. And you got to finish it, and you got to be disciplined to get that done.
Anything additional? Pat, how would you feel if the roles were reversed and you had a game this week after having a game the previous week against a team that had a bye previously?
Well, it happens all the time. I mean, you know, other teams have byes, so I can't tell you. I know it happened early in the year where somebody had an open week prior to us. I don't know who it was. EJ could probably.
UNC had Carolina.
Yeah, UNC had the Hurricane had an open week. You know, the advantages. You know, so you get healthy. What I mean, I don't know if it matters. You know,
Is it an advantage for you?
if we win, I'll say yes. If you lose, it was a disadvantage. You know, I mean, you don't know. It's hard to say.
Coaches don't think about that kind of stuff.
I mean, you like to guess on these things, and I wish I could tell you there's a stat, but I can't. I don't think there's a stat. Sometimes people feel like you have an open week where you lose your rhythm, and you know, you're back to the first game of the season. You know, I think it's just another game, and I try not to look at it as anything different than a chance to get fresh, evaluate what you're doing, start to lock into your fundamentals a little bit more because you have a little bit more time to do that, and then, you know, this week we'll lock in the game plan.
Back in the day, there weren't any offense, were there?
I think there was, yeah. I don't remember. That's a long time ago. All right. There was open weeks, wasn't there, Larry?